Okay, picture this. You're leaning in, the anticipation is building, and then bam, your lips meet. It's a pretty universal experience, right? Whether it's a nervous first kiss or a comfortable peck with someone you love, it just feels natural. But like, have you ever stopped to think about why we kiss? Why is this thing that seems so simple, so loaded with meaning?
Well, that's exactly the kind of question that makes this deep dive so interesting. We're going beyond those Hollywood rom-com cliches and looking at the actual science behind kissing. We're talking evolutionary biology, brain chemistry, the whole shebang. And by the end, you'll have a much clearer understanding of what's really happening when those lips lock.
Totally. We're cutting through the fluff. No kissing booths or mistletoe here. We're talking hard facts, controversial theories, and the cultural quirks that make kissing such a fascinating subject. So buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride.
So let's start at the beginning. Where did kissing come from? Is it something we're hardwired to do, an instinct passed down through millions of years of evolution? Or is it something we learn from our environment, a social construct like shaking hands or bowing?
It's a real head scratcher.
Yeah.
Right. And, there's some pretty interesting theories out there. One that always gets me is the kiss feeding hypothesis. I mean, it sounds kind of gross at first, but basically the idea is that ancient mothers would chew food and then pass it mouth to mouth to their infants.
Yeah, it's definitely a vivid image, but it's not as outlandish as it might seem. Think about it. This act of sharing food, this intimate contact, could have evolved over time into a more general way of expressing care and connection.
Right. It goes from basic survival to social bonding. That's wild. But there's another theory that's pretty compelling too. The idea that kissing is a way for us to size up potential mates, using our senses of taste and smell.
Exactly. When you're kissing someone, you're up close and personal, right? Your nose is right there, picking up all those pheromones, and your taste buds are getting a sense of their flavor. And some scientists think that this might be a way for us to unconsciously assess their genetic compatibility.
Like a built-in biological screening process. It makes you wonder what information we're actually exchanging during a kiss. Okay, so we've got these different origin stories. But here's the thing that blew my mind when I first learned about it. Romantic kissing is not actually universal.
It's true. We tend to think of kissing as this fundamental human behavior, but there are cultures around the world where romantic kissing just doesn't exist. And it's not like they're lacking in affection or intimacy. They just express it in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen movies where kissing is like the ultimate symbol of love, but in reality, it's not that simple. In some cultures, kissing might be seen as unhygienic, unnecessary, or even a little weird. They might prefer to rub noses, sniff each other, or touch foreheads instead.
It's a good reminder that even something as seemingly basic as kissing is shaped by culture. And it makes you think, what other things that we consider normal might be totally strange to someone from a different part of the world?
Okay, so kissing might not be universal, but when it does happen, man, is it powerful. There's a reason why we call it chemistry, right? It's like this explosion of feelings and sensations.
Well, that's because kissing triggers a whole cascade of neurochemicals in the brain. We're talking dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, adrenaline. It's like a love potion brewed by your own nervous system.
Dopamine is the star of the show, right? It's the pleasure and reward chemical that makes us crave more and more and more.
Exactly. Dopamine is what makes those first kisses so exhilarating. And it's not just about the physical sensations. Dopamine also plays a role in bonding and attachment.
So it's like your brain is saying, hey, this feels good. Let's hang on to this person. And then there's oxytocin, the cuddle hormone, which I know is super important for trust and connection.
Absolutely. Oxytocin is released during all sorts of intimate activities like hugging, cuddling, and yes, kissing. It helps us feel safe and connected with our partners.
And serotonin, that's the mood booster, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of weird with serotonin and new love. In the early stages, serotonin levels actually drop a bit. And this might explain why we can get so obsessed with our new partners, why we can't stop thinking about them. It's like a temporary state of love-induced madness.
So that feeling of being completely smitten is basically your brain messing with your serotonin levels. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then there's adrenaline, which is all about that heart racing, butterflies in your stomach feeling.
Right. Adrenaline kicks in when we're excited or nervous. It's the fight or flight hormone, and it's what gives us that rush of energy and excitement during a passionate kiss.
Okay, so we've got all these chemicals swirling around, but let's go back to that idea of mate assessment for a second. Is there really a biological reason why we might be attracted to one person's kiss and not another's?
It's a controversial topic, but there's some evidence to suggest that kissing could be a way for us to subconsciously evaluate a potential partner's genetic compatibility.
Wait, so we're talking about like DNA level attraction.
Exactly. Research has shown that women are particularly sensitive to a partner's scent during kissing, and it turns out that this sensitivity might be linked to something called MHC genes, which play a role in our immune systems.
Okay, I'm following so far. MHC genes, immune system. But how does this relate to kissing?
Well, the idea is that we're more attracted to people who have different MHC genes than our own. And that's because having a diverse set of MHC genes can lead to healthier offspring. So by kissing someone, we might be getting a subtle whiff of their immune system and making a subconscious judgment about whether or not they'd be a good genetic match.
So that spark, we feel, could actually be our genes talking to each other. And it makes you wonder if those bad kissing experiences are really just our bodies saying, nope, not a good match.
It's a thought-provoking idea, isn't it? Maybe it's not just about technique. Maybe there's a deeper biological reason why we click with some people and not others.
Totally. It's like our DNA is playing matchmaker. Now, I've always wondered if there are any differences in how men and women approach kissing. I mean, anecdotally, it seems like guys are more into, like, slobbery makeouts, while women are more about the emotional connection.
You're actually onto something there. Research suggests that men tend to prefer wetter, more intense kisses, and that might be because of the testosterone present in their saliva. Remember we talked about that earlier.
Right, that sneaky testosterone transfer. But what about women? What's the deal with them and kissing?
Women generally place more emphasis on kissing as a way to build emotional intimacy and connection. It's less about the physical sensation and more about the emotional bond.
And there was that study you mentioned, the one where they asked people if they'd have sex without kissing first?
Yes, the Oxford University study. Well, the results were pretty interesting. Almost 60% of men said they'd be willing to have sex without kissing, while only 14% of women said the same.
Wow, that's a huge difference. It really shows how important kissing is for women, especially when it comes to feeling emotionally connected. So we've talked about the origins of kissing, the brain chemistry, the potential for mate assessment, and even gender differences. But is there anything else? Are there any, like, benefits to kissing? Can it actually be good for us?
Well, believe it or not, kissing does offer some surprising health benefits. For one thing, it burns calories. I'm not saying you should skip the gym and just make out all day, but a passionate kiss can burn a few calories per minute.
Hey, I'll take it. What else?
Kissing also helps boost your immune system. When you swap spit with someone, you're exposing yourself to new bacteria, which can actually strengthen your body's defenses.
Okay, that's both kind of gross and kind of cool, like a natural vaccine. What about stress? Can kissing help with that?
Absolutely. Kissing lowers cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. So a good makeout session can be a natural way to unwind and de-stress.
So next time I'm feeling stressed, I'm just going to grab my partner and,
Yeah,
you know,
I think they'd appreciate that. And there's even some evidence that kissing can improve heart health by lowering blood pressure.
wow. So kissing is good for your immune system, your stress levels, and your heart. That's amazing.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm officially a kissing advocate now. But before we wrap up, I want to talk about the different cultural customs around kissing. I mean, we've established that it's not universal, but how exactly do these customs vary?
Well, there's a whole world of variation out there. For example, we often associate France with passionate kissing, but they're also big on cheek kissing, even between strangers.
Yeah, that would definitely be awkward in some cultures. What about other parts of the world?
In many East Asian cultures, like Japan and China, public displays of affection, including kissing, are generally frowned upon. And in India, kissing in movies was taboo for a long time. And even today, public kissing can get you in trouble in some areas.
It's fascinating how something so seemingly natural to us can be so taboo in other cultures. And what about the Middle East? You mentioned some interesting customs there.
Yes, in some Middle Eastern cultures, it's common for men to greet each other with cheek kisses as a sign of respect, but romantic kissing in public is generally discouraged.
So the meaning of a kiss can depend a lot on the context and the relationship between the people involved.
Okay.
Before we go, I know you've got some fun facts about kissing up your sleeve. Hit me with them.
All right, are you ready for this? The longest recorded kiss lasted for over 58 hours. That's like 2.5 days of nonstop kissing.
Whoa, that takes some serious dedication. What else you got?
Did you know that the scientific study of kissing is called philematology?
Philematology. That's awesome. I'm going to start dropping that word into conversation. And how much time do we spend kissing in our lives?
On average, a person spends about 2 weeks of their life kissing.
2 weeks. That's kind of beautiful. And one last fun fact.
Back in medieval Europe, people used to seal legal contracts with a kiss. That's actually where the acronym SWOC comes from, sealed with a kiss.
Wow. So kissing has a long and storied history. Okay, let's wrap this up. What are the key takeaways from our deep dive into the science of kissing?
Well, we've learned that kissing is a complex behavior with roots in biology, evolution, and culture. It's not just about physical pleasure, it's a powerful way to bond with others, assess potential mates, and even improve our health. And while it might seem like a universal human experience, the truth is that kissing customs vary widely around the world.
So the next time you lean in for a kiss, remember that it's more than just a simple act of affection. It's a fascinating blend of science, culture, and human connection.
And it might even be your genes whispering to each other.
Who knew kissing could be so complicated? This has been a truly fascinating deep dive. Thanks for joining me. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep those lips puckered and those brains engaged.